Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the Immortal Thor Issue 5 2023. Bam, baby! I really like this cover. Now, granted, because of the lighting, it kind of like does some weird stuff, but I love the use of color from the Rainbow Bridge, seeing all the different kind of Thors lined up. This really shows what's kind of going on in here with Thor and the rest of those that can wield the power of Thor, helping him take on Tyrannus. And this was a nice conclusion to that arc. I really liked how this kind of played out here. So, first we start off with another kind of bit from the Carmina Burana, Author Unknown. Fortune rota volviter, descendo minoratus. Alter in altum tolitor, nimis exaltis, rex sedet in vertici, cavetum ruinem. And I kind of looked that up. And now granted, this is from WikiQuote, so take that translation with whatever grains of salt that you need. That one of the kind of translation is, the wheel of fortune spins. One man is abased by its descent. The other is carried aloft. All too exalted sits the king at the top. Let him beware ruin. Very kind of interesting quote. And Tyrannus kind of should heed those. So, we start off with a really cool looking panel that just doubles up with what's going on with the Wheel of Fate and everything kind of going on with it. On the dark side of the moon there was light. An elder god had pitted his wrath against Gaia's child and those who stood with him. A god with the Wheel of Fate in his hand. And the wheel had turned. The wheel is turning. The wheel readies to turn. Understand ye yet, or what? All weather turns to storm, and all this has happened before and happens now again. Turn the hands of the clock. Turn the wheel. Turn the page. Turn, turn. And then we get the understanding of this kind of primordial myth and the understanding of the Utgard gods. And see the face of Demiurge. And Demiurge is like the primordial kind of god that created all things. Now granted, this is not the one above all of what I'm kind of seeing, but could be linked. We'll kind of have to see. There were demiurges before and realities that were and now are not, and there is a demiurge to come who lives among the living and awaits his time. That could potentially be talking about like Franklin Richards potentially, but there's a lot of different ones that it could be referring to. But I like how this kind of works into it. But this was Demiurge Primordial, the god creator, whose name and knowledge cannot be known, who exists in primal time when the earth was in formation. With eyes that burned with ineffable will, this creator gazed upon the creation, the boiling seas of possibility, and brought forth aspects of itself. Which is always interesting and always kind of linked up to those kind of god myths. Brought forth gods, one that is the deep magic, Utgard Loki. One that is the wheel and the cycle, Tyrannus, and one that is life, Gaia, bringing us with the Utgard gods. And many more, living concepts, the earliest of their kind, existing before humanity could name or shape them. They were the first to gaze upon the forming world, and seeing that, they also saw each other, and knew each other, as the first gods, the first siblings, the first foes. How could any trick maker exist alongside the iron fate? One must be ruled by the other, and so the battle began, talking about how the forces would come into conflict with all these different things. And then the war. Against all, as the Demiurge's cold gaze watched and waited. For thousands of years the elder gods fought to defeat and consume one another. Back and forth, forward and back, creating and following patterns etched in their natures, endlessly repeating cycles, always returning to their beginnings. Only she who was light, whose name became Gaia, saw past such instant gratifications to the stagnations they produced. The earth would not survive this, life would not survive this, unless she taught a new cycle, a wheel that turned, yet with each turning made new. She began to plan, which is interesting, working within the system to kind of change the system, and I like seeing her eyes kind of like that, and just seeing the craziness of everything going on battle-wise. The art is just fucking on point. But beware of what you plan for, though he knew it not yet, her own, though he knew it not, Not yet. Her own son now beheld the fruits of her labor. For Tyrannos, who was also the thunder, had been loosed upon him and Midgard, and Thor gathered his own forces in his own name to respond. Somewhere Gaia felt her wheel turning, the winter to spring. And we see them fighting Tyrannos, which is really kind of awesome, and seeing them all in their different kind of Thor forms. Who's next for Mjolnir? Loki, go long. Good guess, but wrong. We only get 60 seconds of Thor time without touching the hammer, and Storm had it first, the spring to the summer. And he throws it to Storm. And she passed, let's pass it to someone who wants it. Beta Ray Bill to you, the summer to the autumn. Much appreciated, Aurora, very much, as we see him lashing out with a bolt of lightning. Yeah! Fucking teamwork. And on, and on, each in turn, and each building on the work of the last. Which is kind of cool to kind of see this working on like this. As we see, my blow struck against him. Who's next? Lady Jane. Again, the hammer passes close to Tyrannos' reach. Accursed stinging gnats. Again, he was denied. Want to turn, Mr. Horse? Not for me, Ta. 4 good hooves. That's hammer enough. Death will claim all of you. Death upon the wheel. I don't think so. Your wheel's about to get a puncture as she tosses it and hits the wheel. Krakoom. I really love how, let's see here. You see the Krakoom and how it's like going like that. It's like, damn. The wheel cracks. 'Twas an ill omen for mighty Tyrannos. 'Tis the power of Mjolnir, old one, the crusher, greatest of all hammers. The Uru is stronger than e'er before, and eager to rend the skull of a Titan. True words, yet Thor was admitting a final truth. Tyrannos had yet to taste the hammer's greatest power, Mjolnir, and he could feel it tantalizingly close. And we see this, and it's like, what's kind of going on? What's Thor's play? What will go on with this? And his desire grew. It's like, okay, they're getting him to kind of do this. That's the name. Don't wear it out. It's been a long time since I've held Mjolnir on a fully legitimate basis. I really have missed it. Magic, mischief, trickery, sorcery, magic, mischief, trickery, storytelling, don't get me wrong, they're all fun. But there is something to be said. Loki, wait. For just hurling a big hammer at a thunder god's face. No! As Beta Ray Bill tries to stop him before it's too late. Too late. And we see the Tyrannos then grasps Mjolnir. And everyone's like, ah, shit, that's not good. They've been trying to play keep away. Ah, well, that's torn it. The hammer is mine. Time runs, mights of thunder. In moments, you will lose the power of the storm and be helpless against me. He's right, the 60 seconds are up. I can feel the Asgardian strength leaving me. I still have power over the weather, but it is just myself and Thor against him. I don't understand. How can our foe even lift the enchanted hammer? As we see, I really love, like, this art is great, but being able to see the transformation of going back into the regular forms while still retaining some of the Thor forms is very well done. That is very hard to pull off, like that kind of transition there. But we see that Thor has other plans. The reasons are simple indeed, Bill. Tyrannos, I judge you worthy of the power of Thor. And then we see Krakoom, and then we see him in his Thor form wielding Mjolnir, and it's just fucking terrifying. You're like, oh shit. And so it was. The ancient storm meets with the new. The past and the future are one in me. Nothing is beyond me now. I shall rend you all to dust and bones, crack the earth and drink of the magma. All will end in a sea of fire and blood. And then we see, of course, the same transitioning going on with Jane and Loki. And they're like, Thor. Jane's like, Thor! And Loki's like, give him a second. Before you embark on that noble goal, great Tyrannos, I have but one small question for thee. Answer if you can. What is the power of Thor? And this is where it gets really fucking good. I mean, I've been liking them doing this kind of thing and trying to figure out what's kind of going on, but it's pivotal to how Thor and his allies beat Tyrannos here, because we now get this explained of what the power of Thor is. And whenever you're explaining something, you have to do it in an interesting kind of way. And this is not just talking, it's showing what's kind of going on. Tyrannos is like, what? What is happening to me? Why can I not? What have you done? When they called to me in ancient times, as rain lashed and lightning struck, as the roof fell in and the long boat capsized, what power did they invoke? Did they wish the storm to rage on, more terrible each moment than the last? I say thee nay. The power of Thor is the power to hold the storm back. And it's like, yeah, they would call upon Thor or Zeus or any of those gods upon this kind of raging storm to quell it. And it's like, yes, they can bring about these storms, but they also are the ones that hold it back. My greatest power, my greatest strength that it took me longest to learn is knowledge. It's like, yes! Fuck yes! That is... I love building to that kind of moment, because for character growth like that, Thor has all this knowledge because of how long he lives and what he's lived through and what he can do. But it's like, yes, he went and gathered the knowledge organically and fights through everything that he's done. Odin went another kind of route. He did sacrifice for it, though granted Thor has done it through a longer kind of time and a longer kind of process of how to use my power well, with compassion, with restraint, with nobility, with hard-won wisdom, as we see them kind of balancing out with the other people that have utilized Thor's power. And most of all, with humility. A fine tautology, is it not? The power of Thor is the power to be worthy. Yes, I agree with this. I'm like, damn. Now granted, I can definitely understand if people will be like, I really don't agree with this concept. But it's interesting because I never really... A lot of people talk about what's worthy and the powers of Thor and everything, and I really like this take on it. This just really resonated with me. If I may grant that power, and I see no rule against it, then you, Tyrannus, deserve it more than any. And I like being like, ooh. It's interesting to be able to understand and bequeath this power to others to kind of teach something. It's like very Thor Allfather-like, which is cool to see that kind of step up. Odin wouldn't really go this kind of route. For yours is surely the greatest need. No, no! Take it back, Thor. Take this horror back, as he's like throwing the hammer pretty much at Thor and seeing it shrink back down to regular size. It's just awesome. What is seen cannot be unseen. The heart once opened cannot simply be closed. How does your heart feel, God of ancient thunders? And I'm like, yeah, it's really hard to close your heart after you open it to certain kind of things. It burns and screams, it shrieks, curse you, thunder. May you wear a crown of all my torments upon thine own brow for this soul torture, for showing me what I have done. 'Tis only what I was bid to do, what I was loosed upon the earth to do, at the command of my brother, the magic maker, the Utgard Loki, and she who first sealed me away, thy mother Gaia. And it's like, ah, shit. Somewhere, Gaia felt the winter's cold as Thor learned the truth. The words echoed in his ears louder than any thunder. And he roared back with equal force, his rage sudden as the storm. What mean you, Tyrannos? Tell me, damn you, tell me what you meant, Thor. In an empty sky. He's gone. It worked. And he's like, damn. So then we get pretty much the falling kind of action. Make him want the hammer, give him the hammer, then infect him with the hammer, and the agony of conscience. That is pretty much how you beat something that is vastly stronger than you like that. An elegant trick, but did you truly need me to play it? I needed those who knew Mjolnir best, those still living who wielded the hammer perfectly and instinctively. And if they were heroes who exemplified what Mjolnir is, what it is meant to be worthy, so much the better. And it's like, yeah, you were kind of needed, Storm. But I waylaid thee from thine own war, and must make amends for that. Say the word, Ororo, and I will come to planet Araco and fight. It's like, I love it. He's like, I knew there was a need, and I know I wronged you. Let me help and make things right. It'd be taken as an insult by both sides. You might lose us the war you want to help with, but I'll take a ride home. If those winds of yours can send me directly to the Valley of the Fallen, this diversion will end up saving me a journey. 'Twill be done, but there's nothing else you wish of me? For now, just keep Orcus on your enemies list. And maybe one more thing. I'll need to make a heroic entrance to rally the troops, and I do miss wearing a cape. And he gives her his cape for that heroic entrance. Like, that's Thor. That's awesome, and it's a small thing, but he does it because it means great things it means something more to Storm, and it's great. Godspeed, Ororo. I owe you a debt, one I will repay in greater measure. And I'm like, yay, good on that. And I like how they tied in everything kind of going on with the X-Men. It's organic. It doesn't feel like it's just forced in or whatnot. And then he gets to Bill. And you as well, Bill. You are the truest of friends to me, and it grieves me that I was not to you. Those were darkest days that left deep wounds. I do not deny it, but we have begun the work of healing what was broken, and that lifts my heart. Perhaps next time you will do me the honor of carrying the Twilight Sword to battle. The honor will be mine, my friend. I'm like, yay! Yay! Healing! I love it. Though I fear the dark days have not ended. Do you need a magic portal, Jane? Are you going by horse? Magic portal. Ta, I'm knackered. Wait, what Mr. Horse said. And then we get to Jane kind of tying into other kind of stuff that I didn't know about. As Thor, now that the end of the world stuff is dealt with, we need to talk. I came here from Valhalla. Oh, has something occurred in those halls? Something had, though 'tis a tale related elsewhere in Avengers Inc., which, incidentally enough, has been cancelled. They'll be finishing up, and I'm like, damn. For our purposes, simply know that in this moment the future might have changed. Like, ooh. And I kind of like that kind of like little note there. Odin, he warned me against warning you, but I have to say something. Thus our fates decided. And I like how bringing that, like, you either tell someone something or don't. There have been omens, Thor, nightmares in heaven, dreams of a dark fate linked to Mjolnir. That a warrior holding it will soon meet their end. Then I should not let this hammer out of my grip again. I'm glad you told me, Jane, as we see a thing floating over Thor's head. Jane the Valkyrie saw the danger over Thor's head, but forewarned was forearmed, and it was still only danger, but not Thor's death. So it's like, ooh, gotta watch out for that. Not yet. Though it irks me that my late father is again interfering in my life and chose you as his agent. Actually, he didn't. He found a way to free his soul from Valhalla to do his dirty work for him. Yeah, the executioner is back. It's like, what the fuck? And then we kind of get, or kind of look next at what's kind of going on at Rox and Scourge. How can I say, how much I love your work? Say what you like, Minotaur, but I'm not here because I want to be. My friend tells me you're the keeper of Thor's legend in this world, and that might be useful to us. I've made certain recent acquisitions, yes, though that's not public knowledge yet. There's knowledge beyond knowledge. I had a vision while I was dead. I saw Thor saving this world from disaster. My friend thinks we have a mutual interest in preventing that. And it's like, what the fuck, Scourge? Disaster is where the money is. It's true. I think we can do business, Executioner, and it's a pleasure to meet your lovely friend. Oh, the pleasure is all mine, Mr. Augur. It's like, who could it be? As we see Enchanté as the Enchantress is back. It's like, ah, shit. Cavet Emptor. So that's that, and we get a kind of look of like legends from the past. So we're kind of getting a little kind of come down as the Allfather sought answers to his new troubles and memories of old, and to refresh those memories, he consulted his skald, kind of fused those, to tell a tale of when young Thor and young Loki journeyed out beyond Asgard on a quest that would determine the fate of all the realms. This is a story of the immortal Thor and his first journey into mystery. Badoosh. So, I overall really enjoyed this because I liked how it dug into the concept of the power of Thor, the power of worthiness, and how Thor and his allies used that to defeat Tyrannos, while learning about Utgard Loki and Gaia and how he was loosed, and that he did this because he was loosed to do what he was supposed to do. And bringing up that mystery. And then also bringing up that we've got Scourge in play, that someone who wields Mjolnir will die, and that Thor is, now that he has that knowledge, planning on trying to deal with that. So there's a lot of cool, irons in the story forge going on here, but I loved how Thor's plan was to infect Tyrannos with the consciousness and the burden of knowing what your power and responsibility is, which is kind of like the nature of Thor and being worthy and utilizing that power to help people and hold the storm back and everything, and using his allies to showcase those things in Mjolnir and to help him do that. And then he helped Storm get back to Araco, and him starting to heal with Bill, and it's just, there's a lot of crazy stuff, and I can't wait to see how Scourge and Enchantress and the Minotaur working together, what insanity is going to ensue with that. Now granted, since it's more with Thor's legend, it might be linked more with Loki doing certain kind of things and having to deal with it, but we'll have to see since he's the Skald. So, I really enjoyed this, I love the artwork, I love the story, and I cannot wait to see what goes on next. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.